The council chamber on Elian Prime burned with red light. A holographic map floated above the dais, entire sectors flickering out one by one. Each fading star represented a compact world consumed by the Dominion. Ancient delegates, scaled, luminous, feathered, and crystalline, spoke in hushed tones that carried more dread than thunder. "We warned them," muttered a Ilthari elder, its voice a chime of glass on stone. "If the humans awaken them, even the gods will tremble." A lone human representative shifted uneasily at the far end of the chamber, ignored as the voices grew darker, fearful. The verdict was silent but absolute. No one would speak further of the forbidden. Across the galaxy, war raged. Commander Alara Valen gripped the armrest of her command chair aboard the ISS Revenant. The battle outside her viewport was a storm of fire and dying ships. Orion's grave, once a fortress built into the husk of a collapsed nebula, was now a trap. Compact fleets had scattered, leaving the humans alone to hold the line. "Shields at 20%! Shouted Lieutenant Orin, his fingers dancing across cracked panels. Sparks showered down, smoke clawed at the air. "Divert all remaining power to the forward array," Alara ordered, voice steady though her heart hammered. "Hold until the last." The Dominion ships advanced with merciless precision, organic metal hulls bristling with spines, pulsing with eerie light. Their movements were too perfect, too synchronized, guided by AI minds more cold than vacuum. 100 against her dozen. Another cruiser died on the flank, its explosion scattering debris across the nebula. Alara didn't flinch. She couldn't afford to. "Ma'am, incoming hail," said Communications Officer Lyra, pale and shaking. "It's Compact Command. On screen." The projection filled the bridge, a Sereti elder, its translucent skin quivering in unease. Behind its measured tone lay panic. "Commander Valen, you must not do what you are considering. Better to perish than summon them. If humanity breaks the silence, all will fall." Alara stared, jaw set. "We're already falling. And where is the compact fleet you promised?" Static cut the transmission. The Sereti had fled, like the others. She rose from her chair, walking the length of the battered bridge. Crew eyes followed her, waiting for hope she no longer had. She felt their fear pressing in, but she wore command like armor. Orin spoke, voice low. "Captain, maybe retreat is still possible. If we burn the drives and leave the civilians here?" Alara snapped. "We're the shield. Without us, Orion's grave is ash." Silence hung heavy until her XO, Commander Hale, spoke quietly. "And if there's no shield left?" Her mind flicked back to Earth, her admiral's warning whispered years ago. The elders fear something older than themselves. If you ever hear the words terrifying species, walk away. Some doors stay closed for good reason. The words return now, sharper than any Dominion blade. On the Dominion flagship, High Lord Kale Thyr observed the battlefield from a throne of steel fused with flesh. His eyes glowed with machine light as his processors relayed every outcome. "The humans resist with animal ferocity," one of his lieutenants droned. Kale Thyr allowed a metallic chuckle. "Ferocity is meaningless without inevitability. They will break. They always break." He leaned forward, studying the image of Alara's ship, scarred but unyielding. "And when she falls, I will scatter her bones as proof to the compact. Let them know resistance breeds only extinction." Back aboard the Revenant, Alara steadied herself. Explosions rippled in the distance as another human vessel fractured into silence. Her crew watched her closely, seeking more than orders. They wanted faith. "We're out of options," Hale murmured at her side. His voice cracked with fatigue. "Out of time." The phrase echoed inside her. Options gone. Time gone. Unless. She turned to the sealed vault beneath the bridge, a relic most thought ceremonial. Humanity's first gift upon joining the compact. A stone humming with dormant energy. Her hand brushed the cold metal of the vault door, and for the first time, she let herself think the unthinkable. A deep tremor rocked the ship. Consoles flared, alarms screamed. "They're breaking through the last defense grid!" Oren shouted. Elara looked around at faces she knew, engineers, officers, young crew barely more than recruits. People who had trusted her to see them home. People who would die here, forgotten, if she did nothing. She stood tall, voice cutting through the chaos. Listen to me. The Dominion believes this is our end. The Compact has abandoned us. But humanity doesn't yield. Not today. Not ever. Her words steadied trembling hands. Fear didn't vanish, but something sharper replaced it, resolve. Prepare to activate the vault, she ordered. The bridge fell silent. Hale's eyes widened. You can't mean. I mean survival. Whatever the cost. But Captain, Oren whispered, what if the Compact was right? What if they're worse than the Dominion? Elara's jaw tightened. Then at least the galaxy will remember we didn't die quiet. Outside, the Dominion pressed closer. HFY's ships encircled the human survivors like predators savoring the kill. His voice carried across open channels, mocking and cruel. Humans! You are alone. No gods, no allies, no salvation. Kneel, and your deaths will be merciful. Elara cut the channel with a single motion. She stared into the void, her voice a whisper meant for herself alone. We'll see about that. The vault hissed open. The artifact inside glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat waiting to be awakened. The Stone of Echoes. Her crew gathered, silent, as if standing before an altar. Elara reached out, hesitation a knife in her chest. This choice could damn them all. But surrender was already damnation. Her hand pressed against the cold surface. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the stone shivered, and the air itself seemed to recoil. The Revenant groaned as if the ship knew what had been unleashed. Hale whispered, pale as ash. Captain, what have you done? Elara didn't answer. She couldn't. The weight of her decision hung heavier than the stars. She turned back to the viewport, watching the Dominion fleet close in, unaware of what was coming. Out of options, she murmured. Out of time. Her eyes hardened. Let's see if they were right to fear. The Stone of Echoes pulsed faintly in Elara's hands, its surface neither metal nor crystal, but something alien, alive. It vibrated at a pitch no ear could catch, a pressure that settled behind her eyes. The bridge crew stood frozen, breath shallow, as though a single word might awaken something waiting in the void. Ma'am, Hale's voice broke the silence. We can still shut it back in the vault. No one will know. We can. Elara cut him off. They'll know when we're dead. The Dominion fleet filled the view screen. Dozens of spined warships glided closer, energy lances already charging. The Revenant's shields flickered like candlelight in a storm. She turned the artifact in her palms, pressing her thumb against the vein-like groove that ran across its surface. The glow deepened, colors shifting with impossible fluidity, shades the human I wasn't meant to see. Oren, patch engineering. I want every remaining power conduit feeding the vault chamber. Captain, that'll drain. Do it. He obeyed, though his hands shook. The bridge dimmed as power rerouted. Consoles guttered. Only the stone remained brilliant, casting alien shadows that danced across the crew's strained faces. Hale leaned closer, voice low. If this brings what the elders fear, we might survive today only to damn tomorrow. Elara didn't meet his eyes. Tomorrow isn't promised. I'll take today. On the Dominion flagship, High Lord HFY watched the human cruiser divert power in a suicidal gesture. His processors calculated outcomes. None made sense. Report, he demanded. An adjutant bowed, mechanical limbs twitching. Their core readings are anomalous. Signal patterns outside our registers. The fleet's predictive arrays are. The voice garbled, cutting into static. Outside what? HFY snapped. Outside comprehension, the adjutant stammered, as though forced to speak words no machine should form. HFY dismissed him with disgust. Superstition. Humanity is grasping at myths. End them before they embarrass themselves further. He gave the order to fire. Back aboard the Revenant, The artifact reached a crescendo. A soundless pulse tore through the ship, rattling bones and teeth. Crew clutched at their ears, though no sound was heard. Lyra gasped. "Captain, I'm detecting nothing. No spectrum, no frequency, no coordinates. The stone isn't broadcasting, it's unraveling space." Elara tightened her grip as the glow surged through her skin, veins burning cold. The nebula outside rippled as though the stars themselves flinched. Hale staggered, knuckles white on a railing. "You've called them. Gods help us, you've actually done it." Across the galaxy, ancient beings stirred. Compact worlds lit with alarms. Elder races screamed warnings into the void. "They've broken the silence!" shrieked the Ilthari, voices carrying across emergency channels. "The humans have summoned the exiles!" Entire fleets reversed course, not toward the Dominion, but away from the coordinates of Orion's grave. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Compact knew fear. The Dominion fleet opened fire. Energy lances streaked toward the Revenant. At the last second, space itself twisted. The beams bent off course, dissolving before impact. Gasps filled the bridge. "What in the hell?" Orin muttered, fingers flying over dead screens. "Physics doesn't allow." "Physics," Elara said. "Just stop taking questions." The stars dimmed. One by one, Dominion ships faltered. Systems went dark, engines cut out, their AI cores sputtering corrupted screams. Through the comm net came garbled voices, mechanical yet terrified. "Unknown presence, corruption fatal." HFY slammed a fist into his throne. "Report!" "What is this?" No one answered. His bridge crew convulsed, eyes bleeding light as implants overloaded. Outside, the dark unfolded. They came without warning, without shape. First, a shadow blotting stars. Then another. And another. Colossal forms, alive yet ship-like, bodies rippling with cosmic flesh and metallic carapace. They moved without engines, bending gravity and light as though reality itself bent to carry them forward. Crew across the Revenant pressed against the viewport, struck dumb. These were not ships. Not creatures. There was something in between, something older than either. One of the Dominion dreadnoughts fired a desperate volley. The being nearest turned, not with weapons but with presence. The dreadnought crumpled in silence, metal folding like paper until it imploded into a singularity no bigger than a coin. The bridge went dead quiet. Orin whispered, "They didn't fire, they just looked at it." Lyra shook her head violently. "Captain, that wasn't a weapon. That was, Will." HFY's composure cracked for the first time in centuries. His ship shuddered as systems buckled. "Retreat!" he snarled, voice metallic with panic. "Fall back!" But his ships no longer obeyed. Dominion fleets hung paralyzed, like prey frozen before a predator. The beings moved among them, impossibly vast, their silhouettes erasing entire swaths of starlight. Wherever they drifted, Dominion vessels unraveled. HFY clutched his head as his implants screamed corrupted visions. Images not meant for his mind, galaxies collapsing, civilizations swallowed whole, eternity blinking out, seared through his neural core. "They are not beasts," he gasped, blood seeping down his metallic chin. "They are gods." The Revenant drifted powerless among giants. The crew sat transfixed, breathless in awe and horror. Elara alone forced herself to stand. She had chosen this. "Status?" she asked, voice raw. Orin blinked at ruined panels. I can't measure anything. Captain, the Dominion's gone. Whole fleets erased." Lyra whispered like a prayer. "Why haven't they touched us?" Elara looked out at the Leviathans, vast beyond comprehension, gliding closer. "Because they chose not to." "Not yet." Compact channels flooded in, voices trembling. "You fools!" A Saradi elder shrieked across the calm. "Do you understand what you've unleashed? They were banished for a reason. They will not stop with the Dominion. They will not stop at all." Elara stared at the screen, her face pale but unyielding. "You all abandoned us. You'd rather die quiet than risk their return. Well, I won't. I made the call. And they answered. The elder's form flickered, eyes wide with terror. You've doomed us all. The channel cut. On the viewport, one of the beings shifted nearer. Its surface rippled, colors flowing across its hide like nebulae alive. For a moment, Elara thought she saw patterns, symbols etched in the folds of reality itself. Almost language. Almost recognition. Her chest tightened. Were they, looking back? The moment stretched, unbearable, until the thing drifted past, leaving the revenant untouched. The rest followed, moving beyond the battle, their vast silhouettes sliding into deeper void. As suddenly as they had come, they were gone. The Dominion was shattered. The battlefield silent. The only sound was Hale's ragged breath. Captain, what did we just survive? Elara closed her eyes, her hands still tingling from the stone's touch. Not survival, she murmured. A reprieve. The storm outside had calmed, but inside the command chamber of the Helios frigate, the tension pressed heavier than any cosmic weather. Every officer, diplomat, and soldier aboard knew what hung over them, a dozen Dominion war fleets, circling like vultures waiting for the last breath. Elias stood at the center, spine straight despite the fatigue carved into his frame. The air was thick with the ozone bite of overloaded systems, screens flickering between status reports and threat assessments. Human ships, battered and bleeding, formed a fragile shield around the battered frontier colony below. They couldn't hold. Everyone knew it. And then the thing the Dominion feared appeared. The rift tore itself open in silent violence. Space buckled, fractured lines of pale fire burning against the void. It wasn't a ship in any conventional sense, more like an afterimage, a silhouette of something that refused to be bound by geometry. Where it moved, light stuttered. Matter seemed to question its own existence. A murmur broke across the deck. Some cursed. Some whispered prayers. Others stared, eyes wide with the primal terror of seeing something not made for mortal senses. What have you done, Elias? Whispered Mara, the diplomat, clutching the edge of the console as though it could anchor her sanity. Elias didn't look away from the rift. His voice was steady. Called the only allies we have left. The Dominion ships faltered. The Predators froze mid-pounce. Entire formations shifted as their admirals weighed a fear no strategy could counter. For centuries, Dominion doctrine had been clear: never awaken the architects, the nameless ones buried beyond the veil. And yet here they were, summoned by human hands. The figure, or rather, the echo of a figure, drifted forward from the rift. Its outline hinted at a humanoid shape, impossibly tall, every movement both graceful and wrong, as if reality itself bent to accommodate its presence. Its face was obscured, a blur of shifting facets. But its eyes, if they could be called eyes, were fixed directly on Elias. A voice resonated across the ship. Not sound, but vibration in the marrow, a chord played on the strings of existence. Why summon us, little flame? Do you seek salvation or annihilation? Elias forced his mouth to work. We seek survival. Humanity is out of time. The Dominion means to extinguish us. If you will stand with us, we will carry your memory to every star we reach. The crew stared. Bargaining with this being was madness. Yet the silence that followed felt like the pause between a question and its inevitable answer. The Dominion broke first. Their lead commander broadcast across every channel, the sneer in his voice thinly masking fear. Humans, you fool yourselves if you think the old ones will fight for you. They consume. They erase. Call them, and you will burn first. But the creature's head tilted, as though considering. We are not your gods' gods. We are what they fear. And you. Its gaze swept the bridge crew. You are not yet finished. In an instant, the void erupted. The Dominion unleashed their fleets, desperate to end it before the balance shifted. Lances of energy and swarms of missiles cut across the black. Human ships scrambled to hold formation. But the architect, if that word even fit, moved. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't need to. Where it passed, Dominion vessels broke apart, peeling open like fragile shells, their matter unraveling into ash and motes of fading light. Whole squadrons were undone in seconds, silenced not by destruction but by erasure. The bridge trembled as shockwaves rattled through Helios. Mara clutched Elias's arm. "You can't control it. What if it turns on us next?" Elias kept his gaze fixed on the spectacle outside. "Then at least we'll die proving humanity wasn't too small to matter." The battle turned into slaughter, but not of humans. The Dominion fleets crumbled, terror overriding discipline, formations scattering into chaos. Yet the architect didn't chase them. It hovered, immense and patient, its attention fixed once more on Elias. "This is not mercy. This is investment. You burn bright but briefly. When the flame gutters, we will come again. Understand this bargain, live, and carry the terror of our name. Fail, and vanish like the rest." For the first time, Elias felt the weight of what he had unleashed. This wasn't victory. It was survival purchased with a promise, a leash forged of fear and awe. Humanity had gained a reprieve, but at the cost of drawing eyes older than empires. He squared his shoulders, forcing strength into his voice. "Then we'll burn brighter than you've ever seen." The architect inclined its head, the gesture disturbingly human. And then, as swiftly as it had come, it folded back into the rift. The wound in space sealed itself, leaving only silence and drifting wreckage where a Dominion fleet had stood. The bridge erupted, cheers, sobs, laughter edged with hysteria. Humanity had survived, against reason, against history. Mara, however, leaned close to Elias, her words sharp and quiet. "You've bound us to something worse than the Dominion. Do you realize what you've done?" Elias's eyes stayed on the stars. "I gave us time. Nothing more. What we do with it, that's still ours to decide." In the aftermath, human ships limped away, carrying news that would echo across the galaxy. The Dominion, unchallenged for millennia, had been humbled not by strength of arms but by humanity's audacity. Species across the spiral would whisper the tale, fear mingling with respect. The message was clear. The gods could be terrified. And humanity had become the species willing to summon that terror. The stars beyond glittered with possibilities and dangers alike. Elias closed his eyes only for a moment, exhaustion pressing down at last. When he opened them again, he saw not just survival, but the burden of leading a species that had dared to make gods afraid. The fire of humanity burned on. And somewhere, in the spaces between stars, something watched, waiting for the flame to blaze, or to gutter.